Hi guys, Romily Bernard, a boy genius, and I thought it would be fun to answer some of your questions in vlogs. So Boy Genius is picking his sort of favorites to ask me from this week, and yeah, go ahead and hit me.
All right. Sharis read your book, Find Me, and
thanks,
she said some really nice things. But she was also surprised this was your first book. She said, she asked, did you always want to be a writer?
Two things. One, this is technically not my first book. Actually, I wrote 4 books before this. It's just my first published book. So if you look at that and you're like, oh my goodness, this does not look like my drafts, that's because Find Me is definitely not a draft. That's probably like the 3rd or 4th incarnation of that book. I had a lot of help with it, so do not compare yourself. I do the same thing sometimes.
Practice makes perfect.
Exactly. And I'm like the worst for like looking at my rough draft and then like looking at somebody's like polished manuscript and being like, oh my gosh, I need to go back to finance because clearly I should not write. And so, but you have to remember all things can be fixed with editing. So thank you so much for reading, and thank you so much for the compliment. But as far as like your actual question about, I know, this is me all the time.
Did you always want to be a writer?
I know. Pretty much I have always wanted to be a writer. It just took me a long time to get to the point where I was brave enough to admit it out loud and say, this is what I want to do for a career. Because I mean, I don't know anybody who's writer for a living. I mean, I do now. But,
I remember when you told me. Wasn't it in like freshman year of college?
Yeah, I think it was. And I mean, it was like this big secret that I was telling him, and it really felt like that because I mean, all of our friends were becoming like lawyers and accountants and going into finance and becoming architects. I mean, it's like, and here I want to be a writer, and I didn't know any other writers, and it seemed like such like a sort of outlandish sort of dream, kind of like saying like I want to be an actress and not knowing any actors or anything. So, but thankfully, Boy Genius was really supportive.
So how did you start becoming a writer?
Mostly in class when I was supposed to be paying attention to other stuff, like, the subjects they're trying to teach us. A lot of times I was writing out stories. Teachers thought I was like the best student because she's so quiet and she takes so many notes. No, I wasn't paying attention. I was actually writing out like different stories and different plot lines.
So did your parents know that you wanted to be a writer or anything?
No, actually, I think I told you before I told them. And then they were pretty scared. I mean, it was pretty much like, how do you expect to
the
feed
whole
yourself?
Actor,
yeah, with that.
Yeah.
So they were really lovely about it. You don't get where you are without the help of a lot of other people, especially with writing. It's a whole team that gets you there. My parents definitely. Oh my gosh, they sent me to my first writing conference, which was a huge revelation to me. I actually am affiliated with Georgia Romance Writers, which has everything from romance writers to sci-fi writers.
And what are they? Are they a writing group or?
Pretty much, yeah.
Do they have local chapters?
Well, it's a local chapter of Romance Writers of America, and naturally Romance Writers of America, they have chapters all over America. So this is just the Georgia section, and they're a great group of men and women. Some are published, some aren't published, some are self-published. It's just a really great group.
And that's where we learned a lot about like the industry, like how to get started, how to find an agent.
Yes, and craft.
That and researching books, what books to read.
Absolutely, and so many things about like, this is called an info dump. You can't do it. It just, like, stop it. So Georgia Romance Writers really helped me a lot. It slingshot me forward. Is that even a word? Slingshot me forward. They really helped my career. Just like catapulted me more toward closer to the writer that I am today.
Would you recommend other people that are looking to become writers?
Oh my
go
gosh,
to
yes,
classes?
yes. Romance Writers of America can hook you up with local chapters. Don't be turned off by it if you think it's like, oh my gosh, I don't write romance. You don't have to write romance. They have a lot of other genres that are kind of mixed in. I think Margie Lawson's classes on empowering your writing, they're fantastic. They're really just, it's like light bulb moment after light bulb moment after light bulb moment. I also think Diana Love, her Breaking into Fiction, class was fantastic for me as well. She teaches that with Mary Buckham, and if you have the opportunity to go, you definitely should. And Michael Haig also. It's technically, yes, it's screenwriting, but good writing is good writing. Good dialogue is good dialogue. So if you have the opportunity to pick up any of those books or any of their packets, I definitely suggest that you do so. At least for me personally, I found it very, very helpful. So I hope that I just covered a lot of ground, Sharis. I gave you way more information than you ever wanted to know. It's like this in my head all the time. I apologize. But if you guys have any other questions, feel free to hit me up through my website, romilybernard.com. I'm also on Twitter and Facebook, so feel free to reach out to me, and we'll answer your questions. Thanks so much. Bye.